Welcome to episode 26 of the Tea and Possibilities podcast. I'm Nikki and this is a podcast all about knitting, crafting and making all the things here in Northwest London. You can find me online on Twitter and Instagram at hippie_Nikki. I'm Nikki Hippie on Ravelry, and if you search for Tea and Possibilities under the groups tab, you will find our group there. You can find the show notes for everything I mentioned today on my blog, and I will link to that and everything else just down below. I'd just like to say a massive welcome to any new viewers. I always really appreciate you giving the podcast a chance. I hope you enjoy it. And to my lovely returning viewers, thank you so much for coming back again. I hope you have a cup of tea with you. Today's tea is basically the only thing I'm drinking at the moment, and it's a detox blend. Here we go, that's the box. It is from Marks and Spencer's and it's called Detox Infusion. It's naturally caffeine free and it's nettle, dandelion and milk thistle. This was sent to me by the lovely Rachel Ravenclaw of the Crafty Historian podcast, who is my pen pal. And sorry that the box is a little bit squished. Our postman's very, very determined that it would fit through the post box. I'm not sure why, given that we've got a perfectly good doorbell, but thankfully it was only the box that was a bit crushed. But yeah, this is really delicious. And it smells really good. It's been really refreshing to have. It's not too heavy. I mean, not that tea is ever heavy, but I feel like milky tea, when it's been as hot as it has been this weekend. It has just freshly brewed, so I'm not going to take a sip of it just yet because it's a bit hot, but yeah, it does smell really good. I love nettle tea. I really need to get some more nettle tea. Really good. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel was also kind enough to send me some little Hufflepuff cupcake cases, but I have put those away into our kitchen box for when we move, because we have decided that when we move we're going to make a big batch of cupcakes and go and meet all the people who are on our floor in the block of flats where we're moving to. So I think that little Hufflepuff cupcakes with little Hufflepuff flags in would be really sweet to hand round. So thank you again, Rachel, it was very kind of you. Before we dive into the episode proper, I would like to just mention the fact that a week ago today there was a horrendous bombing in Manchester at the Ariana Grande concert, where many people lost their lives, and a large proportion of those people were young people. I think the youngest victim was 8. And there were people there who were just there to pick up their kids, there to help their kids have a good time. And in all honesty, I found the beginning of the week very difficult because I could not look away from the news. I couldn't stop looking at it, and I found it very, very heartbreaking. Yeah, and it just makes me sad and angry, and whenever I think about the people who have lost so much, I just can't fathom it. I can't fathom why you would do it. I can't fathom how you move forward having been involved in that, and I just wanted to acknowledge that had happened, because this is a podcast about knitting. It is meant to be a place of creativity and positivity and happiness, but when something like this happens and is so horrific, you have to acknowledge it. And this is something that I think about quite often, because, you know, this is not a one-off. It's happened here in my country, but these terrible things are happening constantly. I mean, what is happening in Syria right now is horrendous, and again, that is children, innocent people who are being just, you know, driven out of their homes. They're being bombed, and it's horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous, and I have been thinking a little bit about ways in which I can help, potentially ways in which I can use my knitting to help. And if that is something you would be interested in, please let me know, and I will cover it in the podcast if I come across anything, any ways that we can get together to do some good. I think would be great. So yeah, if you want to get involved with that, please do let me know. Apart from that, it has actually been a really lovely weekend, which I feel a little bit guilty saying, but it has been. It's been a bank holiday weekend. Today is bank holiday Monday. It has been glorious, glorious sunshine most of the weekend. As you may be able to tell by the fact that I am about a whole quarter of a shade darker than I usually am, because I've been sat in the sun. And I have really enjoyed it. We've had a barbecue, we've been out, sat on the heath in the sunshine, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I actually had a slightly longer weekend because I went to a spa with my mum on Friday. I believe I mentioned that last week. We have discovered that I'm not a great big fan of spas. I love treatments. I have had a Lush treatment for my birthday and I absolutely loved it. I think because stuff was happening, I love that kind of thing, and I am saving up for another Lush treat later in the year. But spa, I don't think I get spas because there was an exercise pool and a jacuzzi and a steam room and a sauna, and then in the corner, happily located right next to the water machine, were 2 sun lounges, and you could just chill out and just read. But it was just really hot in there and quite dry. And given how boiling it was on Friday, we probably didn't pick the best day, really, to go and indulge ourselves at a spa. We probably would have been better choosing a cold day. But when we booked it, we didn't know. We assumed it was still going to be cold. Funnily enough, you can't take your knitting to a spa, so yeah, no wonder I was a little bit confused. You know, I had to sit for 2 hours with nothing to do, and I actually find that less relaxing than if I've got some knitting or some writing or some reading to do, because that occupies my hands and I just feel myself relax. Whereas things like going on holiday and sunbathing, I'm not very good at, because I just kind of lay there and I'm like, okay, well, all I can do is think. And then I start thinking. It actually makes me quite anxious. So yeah, keeping my hands busy is my personal road to relaxation and calm and happiness. But that is probably why you are all here. So let's move on to Whipped Up. Now, as I said, this week was a bit unusual. I found myself completely with no knitting mojo at the beginning of the week because I couldn't look away from the news, and my head was so full of that I just couldn't do anything, and I felt very impotent. I felt like I had nothing that I could do that would actually change the world, and it was very frustrating. At which point Rich said, pick up your knitting, just make something. And he was right, it did help. It helped me anyway, my own mental kind of anxiety, it helped with that. But then of course it was really hot. So although I have put a couple more stripes on my Shanghai stripes blanket, I am not going to show it to you because it doesn't look that much different. It's literally 3 stripes. And then it was just, I realised that I was being insane, and I had this blanket just laid across my lap, and I had my legs spread out in front of me on the bed, and I had this blanket across them, and I'm hooking away, and I was like, oh, it's very hot today, isn't it? It's just such a warm evening. And then I realised, you've got a blanket on your lap. What are you doing? So I folded that up and put it away. I am going to keep plugging away at it because I do have a deadline. I'm just going to do little and often. So I probably won't show it regularly on the podcast, because if it's only going to be a row at a time, you've kind of seen it, haven't you? I did receive some really lovely posts this week. One of the first things I received was this lovely project bag. This is from Odd Knits Adventures. She has started making project bags and she wanted to get some feedback on them. So she sent me this beautiful one, which I am keeping my hat in. I'm very sorry that last week I attempted to pronounce this really clever name of gratitude, It looks a lot better written down, so we're just going to call it a hat for the time being. But yeah, I absolutely love this fabric. I think it's really, really beautiful. It's the perfect size for my hat. And on the inside is this beautiful turquoisey blue. I think it's kind of Hawaiian print. I think it's the flowers, they make me think of Moana. So I really love this. And thank you so much. She also included a really, really beautiful little card. This is hand-drawn little family of narwhals. I like to think the little one in the middle there is the baby narwhal, and that's just so beautiful. Her friend Gemma actually drew this especially for me, and I think it's beautiful, and it is going to go up on my wall above my desk when we move. So here we go. This is my hat. This is the tied knots pattern by Justina Jokowska. I will link to it in the show notes. And it is knitting up so, so beautiful. This is Madeline Tosh DK in the Earl Grey colourway. And I am so, so in love with how beautifully it knits up. It's got such subtle variation of like this blue, and there's these pops of rust, but it's not so variegated that you lose this awesome cable detail, which is great. So this is the first repeat. I need to do it again, and then I can start thinking about the crown shaping. So I'm going to try and get the next repeat done this week. And then I'm wondering how much of this I will have left, because there is a really cute hat that I had kind of been planning to make for my friend's baby. I think it's called the alfalfa hat. I will double check and put it in the show notes. And I was knitting away with this, and I thought, God, this would make a really beautiful little Elfie hat. It would be so cute. And it'd be lovely and warm in the winter, because heaven knows she doesn't need it warm now. But I don't know how much I'll have left. So I think what I'll do is I will knit through this and then weigh it and see how much I have. But yeah, I am super, super happy about this. I love this cast on. I know that I went on and on and on about the German twisted cast on last week, but look at it. Look how amazingly stretchy that is. That's so amazing. I love it so much. And I did get a comment, I can't remember who from, I'm so sorry, to say that yes, it is totally fine to use on socks. It does work on socks. So go to, this is my absolute favourite cast on. That's it. This is a marriage. This is us for life now. I love it. It's actually just started raining, so if you can hear any distant rain, that's why it is actually raining. I could finish this hat this week if I sat down and really ploughed through it. But as I say, it's really hot at the moment, and it's very sultry and kind of sleepy inducing. So I'm gonna try and get the next repeat done, and I'm just gonna enjoy my knitting, because it is too hot to get angry with your knitting. Despite saying that you shouldn't get angry with your knitting because it's too warm, I picked up my Find Your House shawl again. This is the funny little alpaca pouch that I got from Paper Chase. And it has actually outgrown this now, really. I need to get a bigger project bag for it, but for the time being. Now, you may remember a couple of weeks ago, I gleefully said that I had finished this garter section. And then this weekend I decided time to start the next lace section, which is what I did. And the numbers were off and it wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why until I counted and realised that I had 109 stitches, not the required 119. I can't even blame the fact that it was too hot when I did it, because it wasn't then. I just think it was wishful thinking. So I knit up the next few rows to get myself up to 119. That involved ripping out a couple of times because I wasn't paying attention, because I was watching Doctor Who. Don't watch Doctor Who when you have to count. I don't know why I'm doing this. Maybe it's my sonic screwdriver. But it was an excellent episode and I couldn't concentrate. But as, I don't know if you can see, as you can see, I have started the first row of the lace section. Touch wood, it currently works. I'm hoping to get this lace section finished this week as well. So those are my two kind of goals for the week, to do the rounds on my hat, the second repeat on my hat, sorry, and finish this lace. Because I really just want to get to the next colour. Like, it's meant to be a colour fading shawl and I'm still on my first colour. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know what it is about this. I think I just have a mind block about it. But yeah, it's getting super beardy. I just think this purple is very Albus Dumbledore, which I think is why I just immediately go beard. So yeah, that's all I have been working on this week, but that is not all I have to show you. The lovely Clara of Studio C Yarns got in touch with me a couple of weeks ago, not very long ago at all, and offered to send a prize for the best year ever cow. And she sent the most glorious, beautiful yarn you could ever imagine. This is her merino polyamide mix. It's 75% merino and 25% polyamide. It's 4-ply, it is delicious, it's so soft and smooth. And this is the Blueberry Field colourway. Now, Clara has told me that she doesn't dye repeatable colourways at the moment, but she always dyes small batches of one-of-a-kind yarns, which basically means there's always something new and exciting in her shop, which is a beautiful place to hang out. And this, I think, is just Care Bears and My Little Pony, and is my 90s girl heart joy. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's for you guys. It's a gift, it's a present. So yeah, one lucky winner will win this at the end of the best year ever cow, and I'm very jealous because I think this would make the most perfect whimsical pair of socks. Just perfect. She also included this really cute little card, which I love, and along with my narwhal card from Odd Knits Adventures is going up on my wall when we move. But that was not all that Clara sent to me. No, no, no. She also included this beautiful project bag. I was not expecting a gift for me at all in this parcel. I was absolutely shocked to receive it. But isn't it beautiful? It's got this lovely, like, meadowy flowers fabric and then a denim box bottom and a really firm drawstring. The inside is also gorgeous, and I think this is what my fade is going to move into. I haven't moved it in there yet because I wanted to show it off to you first, but I think this is what my fade is going to move into. I think it will just about fit at its maximum size, but we will see, because I'm not quite sure how big it gets. I really love the combination of fabrics here. I think it actually looks like a really cool outfit, like jeans and a nice little floral top. And she actually has some of these available in her shop. So if you like this one, you can go and buy it. I will link to her in the show notes. But that was not all I received, because along with my lovely project bag that she has asked me to test, Odd Knits Adventures sent me these three little cuties. Now, she has put a note here to say what colourways they are. So they are all stranded dye works. She knows I love stranded. I love Amy's work. It's amazing. Fellow fan right here. These are all in the Oasis base. And this one here at the top is Flamingo Legs. This one here is Fright Night, which is her Halloween colourway, which I didn't manage to get my hands on and was really gutted about. So this is amazing. I can't wait to add this to my Cozy Memories blanket. I'm so happy to have this. And this one here is Bonanza. And I don't remember seeing this yellow one, but it's gorgeous. But Flamingo Legs is one of Amy's most popular colourways Fright Night, as I said, is just the most perfect Halloween. It's kind of grey with blacks and shots of neon green and purple. These are going to go right next to each other in my Cozy Memories blanket. Thank you so much. Speaking of my Cozy Memories blanket, I was really tempted to fish it out this week. I saw Katie on Inside Number 23 has gone back to working on hers, and I thought, oh yeah, I've got loads of minis, and I've just received those amazing 3 minis of Stranded. I really want to get it out again. And I got it out, and I took one look at it and went, nope, it's too hot. It is too hot. I mean, it's one thing to have a quick crochet blanket on your lap. It's quite another to have a mostly wool blanket on your lap. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm probably not going to work on that for a while, unless we can get the fan out from the loft. These are the problems of being a knitter. It's a perfect drinking temperature now. But that's all that I have worked on this week. That's all that some lovely, lovely people have sent me, and I was so happy to receive such kind parcels this week. Thank you so much again. And now let's move on to Knit and Natter. This week's Knit and Natter is a little bit about looking backwards. I always think that you should look forwards, and you should have no regrets, and you shouldn't be looking behind you. You should always look forwards and be planning and hoping for the future. But I think there is a lot to be said for looking back. And recently I was talking to my friends about using more natural methods of toiletries, I guess you would call them. For example, I've started using oil in my hair again. I think I mentioned the Moroccan argan oil I've got. I've since finished that up and am now using just sweet almond oil. I have also started using coconut oil again as a moisturiser, which is amazing. I use it on my face and on my skin. And I am going to make up an oil cleanser. I used to oil cleanse really regularly. It was amazing. I stopped. And I'm now going to make some up again. I've received some glass bottles with pumps, and I'm just kind of waiting to find some time to just whip some up. It takes all of 5 minutes, so it's probably just me being a bit lazy at the moment. But yeah, this was something I used to do a lot of. In Rich and I's first flat, I had a cupboard to myself in the kitchen, and I had all my oils in there, and I would have beeswax and coconut oil, and every couple of weeks I would get out my silicone muffin tray and I would melt down some beeswax and some other oils and make lotion bars, which I kept in the fridge and would just use as I needed them. I oil cleansed most days. I used to oil pull. I used to use a lot of traditional remedies, I guess you would say. That being said, I absolutely use modern medicine. I am currently regularly taking antihistamines because my hay fever is horrendous. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I felt very healthy. I felt really good in my skin. It seemed to have a really good effect. I have sensitive skin. I tend to be allergic to most things, whereas coconut oil is amazing. We then moved back in with my family, and I kind of reduced the amount that I did because, you know, I didn't have the space to store all my oils, and I couldn't be constantly in the kitchen boiling up beeswax and other things. So I kind of reduced what I did. And then we went to Portsmouth, and as I've said before, it was not the happiest time, and I kind of withdrew from all the things that I loved. So the things that I did keep going with, I kept knitting, and I pushed myself to go to the gym, simply because I am hypermobile and I'm asthmatic, and I find the best way to manage both of these conditions is to go to the gym, to strengthen up my muscles, to prevent my hypermobility being an issue, and cardio seems to help my lung function. That is just what works for me. Apart from that, I pretty much withdrew from everything. I stopped making my own things, I stopped doing regular yoga, and I just kind of focused on those two things to get me through. But now I'm in a much better situation, I am much happier, and very soon we will be moving into our own flat. We are waiting for an exact date, but it will be in August. And slowly but surely I'm looking back at the things that I used to love and I'm bringing them back in to my here and now. And I'm making plans to grow that even further once we move. So at the moment, I am going to mix up an oil cleanser today. I have been using, as I said, coconut oil again. I've been using oil in my hair. Before I started the podcast, I had quite long hair. It was about mid-back. And in July last year, I had the very bright idea that if I cut all my hair off, my life would change dramatically and everything would be magically better. Needless to say, it was not, and I woke up the next day horrified by what I had done because I had very short hair. So I'm now trying to encourage it to grow back. So I'm using oil on the ends to keep them in really good condition, and I'm massaging my scalp every night to encourage growth. And I feel really good. I feel really, really, really good for revisiting these things that I used to love. So that's been something that I have been kind of building up over the last couple of weeks. And as I say, I feel really, really good about it. But then I stumbled across this. This is a book that I had on pre-order ages ago. And it arrived and I was in the process of moving to London and I just didn't pick it up and I left it underneath some stuff and completely forgot about it, if I'm honest. And then the other day I found it again. Now, just to give you some background, this is by Candice Moore, who is one of my favourite yoga teachers on YouTube. She is running a handstand class in London in July, which I would have loved to go to, but as I say, I haven't done yoga in about a year and I don't feel that I'm there yet because it is for handstands and I feel like I would have to have a little bit more flexibility than I currently have to go there. But yeah, I have her DVD, Sweat. I heartily recommend it. It was really, really amazing for me. I did it 5 to 7 times a week. I really enjoyed it that much, and what I loved about it was I wasn't judging myself on, have I lost any weight yet? Has this made me thinner? I was judging myself on, that pose was easier today than yesterday. I can get my heels closer to the ground in downward dog today. I can actually get up into crow pose today, and it was that I really, really liked about it, because I was judging myself on my actual progress rather than something as kind of banal as, have I lost weight yet? It wasn't about how I looked, it was about what I could do, and I really, really love that about yoga. So yeah, I got her book because I really enjoy her stuff on YouTube. I have her newsletter, which I get regularly. I just think she's really cool, particularly because she also does a lot of lifting. She doesn't just do yoga, which I really like. And I have been feeling recently that I really, really want to get back into yoga. I am very aware, working in an office, commuting and doing lots of cardio and strength, that I am quite stiff. I noticed the other day that my back is not as flexible as it used to be, that my hips are quite tight, and that's not a good sensation for me. I really like feeling a lot more supple. So I am hoping to get back into yoga. I have not read all of this yet. It's kind of part memoir and part breakdown of yoga poses. I love breakdowns because my thing is very much about getting the pose exact and doing it really well rather than just making it easy on myself. So I really love that she does the do this, not this. So she tells you exactly what to look out for, where you're doing it wrong, and how to do it correctly. But it's also about her own journey in health and, you know, how it helped her and the things that she has taken from it, because it is a transformative kind of practice. So this is something I will be reading over the next few weeks. I am currently reading a non-fiction book about Elizabeth I, so it might take me a bit longer to read this. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because this is a step back for me, but I feel very much like the steps backwards that I'm taking at the moment are taking me back to myself. And that feels really, really good. After spending some time just trying to get through the days, it feels amazing to have the energy and the strength and just the joy and openness in my heart to invite all that stuff back in again. And it doesn't feel exhausting as it did, which is why I dropped it in the first place. It feels expansive and I can't wait. At the moment there isn't loads of room for me to practice yoga at home, but there is a yoga class at my local gym. It's not the gym that I'm a member of, but it's the gym I used to go to when I worked shifts, because it's within walking distance of the house. So I think I'm going to go and do that on Sundays because I miss it. I really do miss it, and I'm ready to welcome that back into my life again. I wanted to talk about this because I feel that it is very much in the spirit of the best year ever, Carol. Remembering the things you used to love and asking yourself if you want to try them again. Sometimes you outgrow the things you used to love. For example, when I was a child, I was obsessed with dinosaurs, obsessed. I loved them. I thought they were the most interesting thing in the world, and I wanted to be a paleontologist. I'm not there yet, but I will definitely be seeing the new Jurassic World film. But yeah, just if you have the time, because I know not everybody does, I completely understand that. But if you have the time, just ask yourself, what have you given up that perhaps you didn't want to, perhaps you still want to do? Could you maybe bring that back into your life? I don't think there's anything wrong with looking back if it can help you move forward happier, stronger. And for me, getting back into using natural beauty rather than things I buy in the shop is great. It's good for my skin because I don't have to worry as much about being allergic to things. I find they work better for me than the things I buy more often than not. And I really just enjoy the process of whipping them up and, you know, mixing it and going, okay, that didn't quite work, maybe I'll try it with this blend, or maybe, oh, I could do with some lavender oil. And it speaks to the Hermione Granger in me. It's potions class and I love it. Yoga is something that I find with yoga, it forces you out of your comfort zone mentally. I don't know why it does that, it just seems to for me, and I think that's probably why I gave it up last year, because I just wasn't ready to be confronted with the things that were wrong in my life, and I just needed to get through every day. But now I've dealt with them, I am ready to welcome it back in and yeah, just get my flexibility back and just feel a little bit more healthy in that regard. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I'm hoping to go to a yoga class next weekend. I will let you know. But yeah, it's all kind of part of this journey that God, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? This journey that I'm on. But it is a journey, and I am trying to be happy and be the best person I can be. And that's what I'm working towards. So yeah, if you do have some time this week to have a think about something that you love, that you want to try, that you want to do, take that time. Maybe do it over a cup of tea. I will see you next week. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you for another cup of tea soon. Take care. Bye. But this, it's just freshly brewed, so, oh yeah, it's a bit too hot at the moment.